Howdy, y'all. Caleb here. And I had a tournament last weekend. It was a lot of fun. I was on the waiting list, so I got in just at the last moment. So I decided to take kind of a fun list, but it might have turned out to be okay. I thought it was going to be one that I was going to go no wins. But look at these standings. I actually, it was an all right tournament. So at the top was Matt Taylor. He had Legions of the First Prince. Then we had Michael Wynn coming in at second. Both of them had 3 wins. He had Daughters of Cain, Hagnar, which is your Marathi bow snakes. Ben Richardson had an interesting list. It had Lumineth Realmlord. He had an Eidolon as an ally, I think. And then 40 Sentinels, 40 Warriors type of thing. And then me in fourth. I'm happy with that placing with what I took. We'll take a look at my list just here in just a second. Brian Henderson with KO. Jacob with Ogre Molotries. Goat with his new Stormcast. I was glad I didn't face that one. It had a lot of protectors and fulminators. Woo! It was nice. And then Cameron with his Iron Jaws. We had 16 people at this tournament, and so a lot of fun. I did take a fun list, but it did have 7 monsters in it. So let's look through this real quick. A Thunder Lizard, Beastmaster, Inspired. Pretty standard there for Thunder Lizards. We have Engine of the Gods with my Fusel of Conflagration to do some mortals. I had my Prayer of Curse, and that actually turned out to be pretty good this tournament, because my engine was usually getting kind of mixed up, and with the new Primeval Domain, a lot of times I was able to get Curse off on a target, and I'd be +1 to my prayers, and so I was getting that off on a 3. So I think I got Curse off like 2 or 3 times, it may have been 3 times in this tournament, and that really helped swing some engagements that I needed to go one direction. Doing those mortals on 6s to hit was huge. I also had 2 Skink Priests with Guidance and Heal. I like Guidance with the new rules because now Guidance is going off on a 4-up when this guy's parked inside my Realm Shaper engine, which he is, and so that's nice. Heal as well, going off on a low roll to heal up my Basildons, which are going to be hanging around. Stegodon on Skink Chief was my general with Prime Warbeast. The Amulet of Destiny and Skystreak Bow also gave him the mount trait of Beastmaster from the new White Dwarf. And that lets him either run, shoot, and charge, or gives him an extra attack once per battle. And that I would use that every game. When I would send him in, I would either use one or the other. So it was very useful. Amulet, may not have been as useful as some of the other games. I kind of held him back a little bit more so I could shoot. And that was kind of the game plan I was going for. 3 Battle Line Stegodons. Yeah, we don't need bodies. We've got Stegodons. And then 2 Behemoths with Basildons with Solar Engines. I did take quite a few core battalions here. I had 3 battalions. The first one, Command Entourage, gives me that extra artifact. Hunters of the Heartlands keeps my Stegodons from being roared at or stomped at, or I guess they can't be stomped, but roared. And then Linebreaker was for the Basildons and the engine, but that gives me an extra command point once per game for the Basildon to give him +1 to hit. So now I can very easily turn 1. I have 1 Basildon +1 to hit from my Skink Priest, and then I have the other one +1 to hit from the Line Breakers. And so very nice, great combo there to be able to use those. If I'm not generating enough command points, I've got one in my pocket from Linebreaker to give to the other Basildon. So I can get both of those hitting pretty good. I really like that. The biggest problem, though, is it's a lot of drops. It's 9 drops, and that lost me a few priorities. Actually, it only lost me 1. It lost me my first one. But I think the key is what I learned from this list is I do want to get lower drops because of that chance of a double turn going from 1 to 2. And so a lot of fun. There's no casting in this list, but I did take 3 priests, and they really leaned into that Primeval Domain. And so that was my list for this tournament. Let's get into the games. All right, game 1, I'm playing Marking Territory. Now, this is a terrible game type for a tournament, but it's going to be at the GW tournament in Austin in November, so we need to practice it. What this is you got 4 objectives, and if you hold all 4 of them by turn 3, then you automatically win. Otherwise, it's just whoever has the most battle tactics. And so this is going to be a game. It doesn't really matter how many points you score. You're just trying to make sure you get a battle tactic every turn while pushing into the other opponent to try to score every objective, just in case you can auto win that way. But really, it's a battle of getting those battle tactics. So I'm playing Matt Taylor, who ends up winning the tournament. He's got a great list here: Legion of the First Prince. And a quick look at his list: the Contorted Epitome with an fourfold blade and flaming weapon. This Contorted Epitome will really dump out a bunch of mortals on you in melee, and so once it gets it to you, it can be quite damaging. The Slaves to Darkness Demon Prince, that gives a great aura buff of 5-up ward save and is incredibly tough to kill in combat. But then we've also got Scarbrand and Be'lakor and a Bloodthirster. Whew, some big old beefy heroes here. And those things will hit hard, but they got to get to you first. Once they do, they can pile in 6. They have some tricks there, and the Scarbrand will dump out a ton of mortals. His battle line is Fleshhounds, Plague Bearers, and Pink Horrors. So I'm going to try to avoid those Pink Horrors when I can. He's also got Soul Snails, Shackles. I can't ever say that thing. Schnackles. He did have lower drops than me, so he was going to go first. And you can see kind of our deployment here. So he made me go first. I'm sorry. So he had priority, so he's going to make me go first. And I chose my first battle tactic was going to be Broken Rank. So I'm just going to kill his Fleshhounds. And you can see I'm kind of hugging my terrain. This thing is partially within my territory, so I do get a 6-up ward save to that entire piece of terrain, which is pretty awesome. And it's deadly to the opponent. So you'll see me this entire tournament just like hugging terrain real close. And I do that with a lot of my deployments. Either I'm going to be up next to my Realm Shaper, or I'm going to be in a place where I know I can get to a piece of terrain turn 1 so that I can get that ward save. Or I can get right next to that. So that way, if he's coming into it, he's going to also have to roll for deadly. So it's kind of I've got to play defensively with the terrain in mind. But I like that. It's pretty good. He gives me first turn, and I actually do pretty good. I kill off basically all of his battle line. Now I had to move up just slightly. His heroes were in range of some things, but not everything. And so I didn't really want to focus on my fire yet. I wanted to get rid of all his bodies and his screens, and then focus on his heroes on the next turn. So I'm able to kill off his Fleshhounds, guarantee that battle tactic there. I was surprisingly able to kill off all his Plague Bears too, and then I hit all of the pinks and killed off all the pinks as well. Now they blew up and turned into blues, but I felt like that was a pretty good start, killing off pretty much all his bodies. Now he's got his 5-6 heroes left, and then this unit over here. Now he does have some summoning, but I felt pretty good about that turn. On his turn, he's basically just moving up the board, not doing anything else, and now it's coming down to a huge roll-off. Whoever gets this roll-off is going to be in great position. I mean, he's lined up his characters to just be shot by every single thing in my army. I can shoot over into his heroes, and if I get this turn, it's going to be brutal. But also, if he gets it, he's getting straight into all my guys. And what happens? He gets the turn priority and moves a bunch of stuff in. In this combat, I was able to kill off Be'lakor, which is pretty nice. But I end up losing that center Bastildon to Scarbrand, who just dumps a unholy amount of mortals into that Bastildon. No 6-up ward save from terrain is going to save that Bastildon. But killing Be'lakor, I felt was a good trade-off. In my turn, I had to choose a battle tactic, and I chose to try to take out this behemoth, bring it down, because I felt like it was the weaker of his heroes that I could bring it down and still guarantee a battle tactic. I poured everything I could into it, even this Bastildon here before it died, and I wasn't able to do it. Because you do kind of have to tip your hand, and so he does Finest Hour, then All Out Defense, and I think I left him on 1 or 2 wounds. It was terrible. Even charging in, I didn't make the long charge with my Stegodon Chief there, but got the small one in and wasn't able to quite kill him out. So after I don't get that battle tactic, at that point it's like, man, it's basically game over, because now all he has to do is just guarantee getting battle tactics, and he's still got quite a few to do, and he'll be able to win that one. By the end of the game, I basically tabled him. I mean, he had this unit over here, and he had the Contorted Epitome and this guy, and I was losing models too. I mean, we had a lot of things dying, but the one thing I couldn't kill was this stinking Demon Prince here. That guy is incredibly hard to kill. And so I think it was like a 2-up save, re-rolling ones. And so I had to go for Slay the Warlord as a battle tactic, thinking I could kill this guy. And I charged in my Stegodon Chief. I had this one attacking, and I couldn't kill him. I left him on 2 wounds left. And so I failed 2 battle tactics by I think turn 4. And so at that point, it was an easy win for Matt as he just fulfilled some battle tactics of running around, getting in my territory, just kind of doing that silly stuff, and was able to win the game. In this game type, you either get 100 points or 0, so he was able to score a clean 100, and I got 0 for this one. But a heck of a fun game. Lots of big things on the table, lots of things dying, lots of combat. So it was fun. It was a fun game. But failing those 2 battle tactics is what doomed it. So he went on to win the tournament. Had a great list there, a lot of fun, and a great game against Matt Taylor. Game 2, we're playing Survival of the Fittest, which kind of has a funky deployment here. But it's not too bad because that means I like any of the ones that push my territory out because that means more terrain is going to be partially within my territory for Primeval Domain. So I kind of like that. It does have this weird like choose a predator and you can score some extra points there. But generally you're scoring 1, scoring 2, scoring more, and then you get an extra point for killing the other person's predator. So I'll talk about predators here in just a second. I'm playing Christina. I played her last tournament when we both had Gotreks. This time she's bringing the big turtles. She's got 2 turtles. I was terrified of this list. I saw it and I was like, I can't kill these turtles. I don't have enough mortal wounds to deal with these turtles. And they have their 2-up save. They have like 16, 18 wounds, something. She's got defensive eels here. I did not like the look of this list. I was worried about this one. She has Eidolon with Arcane Tome and Flaming Weapons, so going to be doing quite a bit of damage there. Lotan, not really sure what he does. Arkelian King, who can do quite a bit of damage. Amulet of Destiny, usually a kind of more of a scalpel, but also there to buff up the eels, I think. 3 units of eels, the defensive ones. 10 Namarti Reavers, and 2 big giant turtles. She did have 9 drops, which made it come down to a roll-off who would get to determine priority. And I won that roll-off, so I was able to determine priority. She did have Alpha Beast Pack, which is pretty cool in this list because she put the 2 turtles in it, and now she's able to push them forward before the game starts. And that was pretty cool. I like that bit of tech. And so here's our deployment. I'm playing on the same table again, which I kind of liked because this terrain piece, it's partially in both of ours. So I didn't really care which side of the board I got. I just wanted that thing partially in one of my sides so that I can use it for deadly and mystical. So here's deployment. I do make her go first, and she does able to Alpha Beast Pack her 2 turtles over there onto these objectives and get onto those objectives pretty quick. She pushes the Namarti Reavers forward so that I have to shoot them with most of my army in turn 1. But that would be okay. So, here we're jumping into turn 2. I took Broken Ranks as my battle tactic because I was just going to focus on those Reavers. I knew I had to shoot them. And I was able to position to where I could get these 2 Basildons into the turtle. They were closest. But then basically all of this stuff went into the Reavers, and this one went into the eels. And so I was able to charge this Stegodon in and made sure I cleaned up the rest of those Reavers to get the battle tactic. Doing it with Monster, that helped. And, I also blew up this terrain piece here with the Realm Shaper to do some mortals on some things there. This table had quite a bit of terrain that was usually around people. She played good against us to where it never was deadly to her, so she never took mortals there. But later in the game, on the next turn, I was able to blow up this giant piece of terrain and hit quite a bit of stuff for mortals. But in my turn, the Basildons actually, they did work. I was worried. I was kind of worried they weren't going to do anything in that turtle, but I was able to bring it about halfway down in the first turn. And so I'm 1 point up after turn 1, and as with most games, it's a huge turn 2 because if she gets it, she's going to bring all this into this Stegodon, kill it. She's going to bring this one, kill that. She'll probably bring the turtle and eels and kill off a Bastiladon. But I get turn 2, and it just snowballs so bad. I don't know if I was rolling well and she was rolling bad, but I was able to clear off this turtle, and then on my double fire, I was able to kill off the eels. And so that was pretty brutal there, losing that turtle, at the top of two. And then I was able to clear off the rest of her eels. So I charged these two stegodons into the Achillean King and was able to kill off the Achillean King as well. I think Lotan may have died too. And I charged in and killed these eels. And so just an absolutely brutal turn. And I mean, that was two full turns of me shooting and charging. So I was, it's pretty hard to absorb that. But basically, all she was left with was the Eidolon and the turtle up here at the top. And at that point, it's I'm just going to be holding on with all my monsters. I haven't lost anything yet, and I should be able to win this one pretty quickly. And that's pretty much how it played out. She's able to move in a little bit and score a couple battle tactics and kill off, a Stegodon here and there. But overall, I was able to hold on to that game because of that pretty brutal turn two that I had on the double turn from 1 to 2. And so she's got a beautifully painted army. I can't wait to see what her next turtle looks like. Those turtles are awesome, and her turtle she has right now looks incredible. So her next one's going to be great too. But that's pretty much how the game ended. I was able to control those two, the left objective and the middle objective, the rest of the game, and was eventually able to kill off the rest of it. We did talk it out in there, and I did end up with, as we're just talking it out, I would have used the battle tactic from the White Dwarf, the one where I run 3 monsters into her territory. Who would have thought? But I think we did talk in that last video about how probably the only time you're ever going to use that battle tactic is if you have tabled the opponent, and that's pretty much what happened here. A great Christina's a great opponent. I really enjoy playing against her. She's fun to play against. But man, it was just that it was a brutal turn from 1 to 2 with all this shooting, and just everything went exactly how it's supposed to go for my army, and I think everything went the way it wasn't supposed to go for her army. So I was worried about this, seeing those 2 big turtles, but it turned out to play pretty good in my favor. So appreciate the game, Christina. Hope you had fun. But on to game 3. All right, game 3. I'm playing against Ryan, also known, you probably know him as Lore Master Sotek. He does a lot of Seraphon content on Total War. So if you like Total War and you like Seraphon, go check out his channel. I've linked it below. He's worth a follow. Does lots of great stuff over there. We've kind of been dancing around at the tournaments. We've never played against each other. I've always wanted to play against him. And finally, we rolled up against each other in this tournament, game 3, and he's playing Nighthaunt. I don't know a lot of what this list does, but it's in Reignar's Condemned. He's got a bunch of small heroes, which I think is kind of Nighthaunt's MO. Excuse me. He's got Guardian of Souls with Nightmare Lantern as his general, Ruler of Spirit Host, Corpse Candle, Spirit Drain, lots of cool stuff there. Cruel Gas Cruciator, Knight of Shrouds, Spirit Torment, Lady Ellender, and the King. So lots of heroes there. They do a lot of different buffs, lots of synergies in his army, and he keeps them all kind of in a castle formation there to just buff up everything out the wazoo. So pretty cool there. We had 30 Chain Rasp Horde, 10 Gringghast Reapers, can't talk, 3 Spirit Hosts, 10 Bladegrass Revenants, and 2 Chain Gas, and then the big old Black Coach, which is just a fantastic model, that Black Coach. Also the Mortalis Terminexus, which is a sweet endless spell that just, unfortunately, he could not get cast for most of this game. That was unfortunate. He did have quite a few core battalions here, Warlord, Hunters, so he got a bunch of extra artifacts to put on all his heroes, which was pretty cool. But that did make him a whole lot of drops, which made it to where I was able to pick priority again. Normally, when I have 9 drops, I don't get priority in any of these games, and the last game and this game, I got priority, so that was pretty cool. We are playing Veins of Gur, which, if you remember the old Star Strike, I think is what it's random objectives. They fall anywhere on these lines in the 2nd battle round and 3rd battle round, which is just crazy because in a tournament, why would you want one that's random? But GW gonna GW. And so this is in their pack for Austin. So this is one of the ones we're going to be playing. One of the big things is that these objectives score the number of points that the round is. And so the longer the end of the game you get, the more these things are worth. And so that makes a battle of attrition a big deal. And Nighthaunt's good at that. I'm not so good at the battle of attrition since I've only got monsters. But we'll see how it goes. So here's our deployment. I don't have a lot of big terrain, but I do have some terrain across, my deployment somewhere in here. So these trees are my deployment for Primeval Domain. So you can kind of see I'm setting everything up. Everything's within range of terrain to get that 6-up ward save on the first one. But really, I'm just trying to spread out. I don't want him to deep strike onto my important stuff. He can put lots of stuff in the underworld. And so I'm just trying to spread out wide. I feel like in the Thunder Lizards, if the wider you spread out, you've got enough range. You can concentrate your fire pretty much anywhere on the board. And so spread out so you don't get bogged down. I've been bogged down too many times by like a Marathi or something, or a big horde that I can't clear, that I don't want that to happen again. But so there's my deployment. My priests are in here, of course, in the Realm Shaper engine to support my Basildons. My engine's there. My Skink Chief is back as far as I can, so I can keep him out of combat until I'm ready to like counterpunch with him. And then my Stegodon's out there on the far side. You can see his castle up top here. Since we don't really know where objectives are, it's kind of hard to play the board yet. You almost want to just sit still. And, I mean, if I had gone first, I would have just sat still and shot. But he can't really do that. He can't really sit still and shoot. He's got to start pressing because he doesn't know where the objective is going to be. He has enough movement and deep strike stuff that he can get to objectives wherever they are. But he does have to press the offense a little bit to get inside my shooting. So in his first turn, he's able to get up a 5-up ward save here, and I think it was like the first 2 or 3 turns he was never able to get that endless spell off, which that endless spell would like blow up all my stuff, and especially because it's just going to sit there and just keep pulsing, and so that is nasty. And I'm glad. I mean, I'm happy he didn't get it off, but I've got no caster, so and it's not a terrible casting value, but he just wasn't able to get it off, unfortunately. He's got a lot of heroes here, and in my turn, I know I've got to snipe these, but since I don't know the army very well, I didn't really know the good target priority. Ryan was a great player. He freely explained to me what all their buffs were. That kind of helped a little bit with my target priority. So that was a great sportsmanship there. I was able to shoot some of his heroes off in my turn. Not quite as many as I had wanted. And my plan was to shoot off, some of these guys, try to get Oleander, try to get one of these other heroes off. I didn't really know which one was the best. And then charge in a Stegodon into this horde, try to clear this horde if I could shoot it up a little bit beforehand. Fortunately, my shooting didn't quite go as planned. I killed off one hero and then got Oleander down to like 1 wound, maybe, I think. And wasn't able to really put a bunch on the horde. And I charged in the Stegodon, buffed it up, did all the attacks I could into that horde, and did almost nothing. I think I killed 6 of them, which was just pitiful. It was a big old fat whiff from the Stegodon. And so he was able to pile in and get pretty much the entire horde back into me. And of course, that many Changasp, whatever they're called, they just vaporized that Stegodon. And so I lost that Stegodon. Probably not my best play. I was really hopeful that thing would. I mean, that Stegodon killed Bellicor turn 1. It can't kill these little ghosts. So I whiffed pretty hard on that one and paid the price for it. Lost that Stegodon and just handed him a victory point. In turn 2, the objective falls down like, just perfect. That's right where I wanted it. If it had fallen down over here, I would have been out of luck. That would have been almost impossible to take from the rest of the game. But it fell down over here on the right side. And that's why this game type should not be in tournaments. It's too random. It's too random to plan for. And so it just comes down to luck sometimes. And so it fell over on the right side, and I got priority. So I got a nice double turn again. This is the second game with a double turn, and I'm going to take the most use of this I can. I'm able to kill off his. I think I was able to kill off his warlord maybe that turn, and then kill off Oleander and put some shots into some other things. And then I'm able to charge in this Stegodon and the engine. I put Finest Hour on the engine and just shoot him up the board. I didn't have to go very far, but brought him into those chain ghasts. So for a big damage, I needed to clear them there. Oh, here we go. Into turn 2. We send those guys in. I'm able to clear off that horde, and it was close. It was actually really close, because of I mean, I had some nice buffs on there. I don't think I did Finest Hour yet. I had some nice buffs on them, but it came down to the wound for those chain gas. And if I hadn't cleared them off on his turn, he would have rallied. He would have had 29 dice rolls to get rally. He would have healed a ton of them back, and that was a huge turning point there. So that was a big deal. I was able to kill off a couple of heroes, able to kill off that 30 block, able to get on the objective with both of those Stegodons. So I'm feeling like I'm in pretty good shape. I'm kind of worried he's going to bring this black coach over here. I don't really know what he's going to do there, but going into his turn, I'm feeling okay. He brings the Reapers over here. We got some tree Reapers there, and bringing the black coach and everything down here into these Stegodons. We got to close over the tree Reapers. They're in the trees. He does bring them all into the Stegodons here, and then the black coach into the engine. I think I was able to overwatch or unleash hell onto the black coach when it charged into the engine, and so that was pretty nice. I had redeployed the engine, but was able to fire from the Bastiladon onto the black coach, and that extra wounds was actually pretty critical because he attacked first with the Reapers, which I think is smart. You don't want to lose that horde. But then I was able to attack back with the engine and was able to clear off the black coach. And I think it was at this point I had Finest Hour. I was able to give a +1 to attack from the Stegodon Chief, and I also had the Sacred Asterisms for another +1 attack. So he had a bunch of attacks going into that black coach and was able to clear off that black coach. So anytime you're able to clear off the opponent's behemoth in your own turn, which is what Ryan had done to me the turn before, I was able to do it to him this turn. That is a good turn. Even though I lost this one over here, I was able to kill off his black coach. So I was happy with that trade. Into turn 3, the objectives fell unfortunate for me over here. They fell on my far left side, which he's got under control. And then his fell right underneath his own horde back there on the back corner. So he's sitting in good shape right here. If he gets the turn, he's gonna put the hurt on me. He could easily bring stuff in from the underworld and I think take out this Stegodon and then start pushing this way with his other horde to keep me pinned back. Luckily for me, I get the turn, and I'm able to clear out that horde over here on this left side with the Bastiladons. I bring this hero out to start heading him this way and to keep him within range of that one. And I'm able to get extra bodies onto this objective, able to clear off his king. So now he doesn't have a whole lot on his turn. He's got that one horde, but he can't really abandon his objective without me getting over there and getting it. So that turn right there was a big one that pushed it my way. And he's able to make some plays here on the next couple turns, but just not quite enough to make a difference. He finally, like in turn 4, got this thing out. It's just, if that had gotten out earlier in the game, that would have made a huge difference because it would have been pumping mortals the entire game. But it finally got out, but took too long at that point. He's able to put some damage on this Bastiladon. I think he eventually killed off that Bastiladon, maybe. But in my turn to answer back, I was able to bring over this Stegodon Chief, score this engine up to here, kill off that unit, and wipe the rest of the army. So a lot of things went my way this turn, but great game overall. I mean, we had some good plays there. I think some bad plays from me on my Stegodons. Maybe that black coach, maybe it shouldn't have gone into that engine, and it got blown up there. But overall, a heck of a game, a lot of fun. As the third game here, objectives falling all over the board, hordes mixing it up, beasts going down. a lot of fun. So I was glad to finally get to play Ryan on a game 3 here. So great stuff. Another win for Seraphon in this game. So in conclusion, we had 2 wins, 1 loss. We lost to the guy who won the tournament. I like the list. I took it as kind of like a fun list. I got in this tournament right at the last minute, and so I just packed up all the monsters I had and took it. But it ended up being pretty fun. There's some good synergies here with all the priests. I wasn't able to do anything against everybody's casting, and so that kind of hurt. I really missed having a Salon, but having a bunch of priests that could give out my buffs was pretty good. I kind of wished I had a screen for that first game to keep his big demons off me, so I'd have another chance to shoot. But overall, it wasn't bad. I had a lot of fun with it. I think the one thing I might change would be my core battalions. I could easily get this same exact list down into either 2 drops with 2 battle regiments, or I think 4 drops with just a battle regiment and a line breaker, so I could keep that extra command point. I would lose the Amulet of Destiny if I did that, but to be honest, it really wasn't much of an impact this game. Because I can hug so much terrain usually, I can keep a ward save on just about everybody. And usually my second on chief is kind of a counterpunch. He's not an alpha strike. He's not getting in the mix until really I kind of choose to. He's fast enough, I can get him to where I need to go. And so I didn't really use Amulet of Destiny all that much. And so I might be willing to sacrifice that extra that extra artifact, just to get my lower drops, just to make sure I have a chance for that double turn from 1 to 2, so I can keep shooting all of these monsters in the opponent. So overall, I was pretty happy with the list. It was a lot of fun. I'm not sure it's the one I'm taking to Austin for the big GT, but I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. I would give, let's see, the White Dwarf stuff, I would give a huge thumbs up to Primeval Domain. Man, that changes my tactics entirely. I deploy for it, I plan for it, and I hug that terrain offensively and defensively to make sure I get those buffs. And all my prayers benefited greatly from that +1 and for all my prayers. So that was awesome. Primeval Domain is fantastic. I also really liked the mount trait. I used it, I think, in every game. I either flipped it to Swift or flipped it to Savage. And so it was useful. It was useful. So don't forget about that mount trait. Put it on something important, because you are going to be using it. So overall, hey, 7 monster list. only 9 models I took to this tournament. And it came in 4th place. Not bad. Not bad. All right, guys. Let me know what you think about my list, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.